Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Josh, and today I have a bit of a special video for you guys. I want to try to see if we can paint the side rockers to the car. The side rockers are pretty much this whole black mold that you guys see over here. This is all metal, and it's black already. However, I painted it with Plastidip, which is a rubber-based paint. And the reason why I was doing that was because I wanted to see how it would look on a black mold versus a chrome mold. And I seem to be liking the black one, so I'm gonna go ahead and make it permanent. For that, I'm going to be using VHT engine enamel, and this is about $12.49 at AutoZone. I have two of these ones. I'm assuming I'm only gonna use one of them. And I also have the sanding paper, and I'm gonna go ahead and prep it for work. So if you guys are interested in watching this video, please stay tuned. If not, feel free to browse all my other videos. Thanks for watching. So for this job, I actually thought about using a drill, but I figured doing it the right way, the slow way, and the better way is the way that works. You'll find 6 different screws, and I know one of my screws is missing, I believe, on the other side, because I pre-painted this, but as you guys can tell, this was all plastic, so it's now starting to fall apart. It bubbles up with heat. Another thing to note is that once you remove this, this is an excellent way to check if your frame is rusted or the amount of rust that it has, simply because you'll remove this and you'll be able to see the frame. So it's a good way to double check. Now let's go ahead and get started removing the screws, and then we're gonna go ahead and sand it and paint. While removing this, I remember that these screws are pretty much attached on the back end as well. So you may want to put a little bit of pressure with your finger to screw in and to screw out the screw, and that way this part will come out nicely. Now, I also went ahead and checked the frame. As you guys can tell, mine is in pretty good shape. I actually added this tape afterwards a couple of months ago, and I didn't do a good job at it, but this is for your aftermarket exhaust systems. If you're doing side pipes, these are the holes that you'll attach it to. I covered them because Chevy didn't put plugs in them, and once they start rusting, you'll be able to see or feel rust through the interior of this, which leads to a good point. If you are checking the rust on your car, you always want to try to fill in the holes in the bottom of this frame. There's going to be a couple of holes. There's one here, and there's one here. What you do is you want to put your finger on the inside of it and see if there's no major rust particles or debris from metal. Your finger should come out pretty much clean. If you feel rocks or you feel debris or rust and your finger comes out looking pretty much rusty, then that's a problem. That means that your frame's being contaminated from the inside. It's a good idea to just go ahead and put your finger in there and just kind of look. Your finger, again, should be clean, just minimal to no rust. Like I said, this is a 40-year-old car, so these are things to expect from it. Once you are done, this is essentially what the piece looks like on either side of the car. It was a chrome piece, and this is in excellent shape. I remember cleaning it briefly while I was adding the new black finish to it. But again, this is Plastidip, so if I tear it hard, you'll see the chrome parts coming out, which is essentially what I wanted. I wanted to test out how I felt with black tones versus chrome, and I ended up really liking it. I am using the same paint that I use for the steering wheel and the horn of the car, so I am kind of aware of what the finish is gonna look like. It's not gonna be too shiny, almost like a satin black, which is what I'm aiming for. Now, obviously, if you don't have any plastic on it, all you have to do is sand out the finish, and I will show you guys here how that looks. I don't know if the camera shows it well, but this has a clear coat, and we must remove that before painting permanently. This was a temporary job, so I didn't spend too much time sanding it or any of that for that matter. So I just wanted to see how the car looks. So let's go ahead and remove this Plastidip, and then we can continue sanding the clear coat to get it to the finish that we want. Essentially, this is what it would look like 40 years ago. I don't know, it gives it a very old look. That's why I'm painting it. And crazy because the newer generations Corvette, or like 81 and 82 Corvettes, came with this painted black from factory. This one had a two-tone paint job, so it had the chrome, or not a two-tone paint job, but it had a chrome finish, and then you had a black accent line. And I'm thinking that was to cover the screws. think they ever thought that the screws would rust and look orange or brown after a while, so you would have black, brown, and chrome. What a beautiful mix. Your desired finish, you can start by painting. I'm not gonna go ahead and put any prep to it or anything. And I know this job could be a little bit better, but as far as I can tell, every single surface that I'm touching is soft and there's no extra clear coat to it or anything. So I can start by painting. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to apply 2 to 3 soft coats. So I'm gonna spray the first one, allow it to dry for about 10 minutes, then spray the second one, allow it to dry for another 10 minutes, and then the third one, and so on and so forth. Hopefully there are no little bubbles. If there are bubbles, that means that the job that I did at sanding is not the best. And I'm not looking for perfection here, as I do plan on adding side pipes in the near future, but I do want a clean look. I don't want to apply too much of a coat. If I do, then you'll start seeing automatic holes in it. And that's the last thing that we want. All right, so it's been about 10 minutes and the surface seems to be drying out already. Another thing that I wanted to point out is that it is about 75 degrees here in Houston. And I do have my little fan on, so it's very breezy, which allows the paint to dry in a very natural way and not forceful way. Now on the second coat, I am trying to cover most gaps that I couldn't get with my sanding machine to make sure that it gives me an even kind of surface. So that's why I'm applying a bit of a stronger coat, and I will also go ahead from this way and cover the backside of it as well. Try not to get the surfaces too wet. Sometimes when you get them too wet, you may cause dripping. So not too wet, but also don't allow them to have dry patches. If you do, then you might have zones where the color doesn't look the same. So that's why we're trying to apply as many surfaces, as many coats as we can. And in the beginning I said 2 or 3, but I'm looking more at 5 to 6 coats because this is chrome and it just shines so much that I want to make sure that the color looks black and in a very deep tone. Here's a close-up before we continue of the piece. As you guys can tell, we still have a couple more coats to add, but overall I think it's starting to look really, really nice. I don't see any bubbles, I don't see any debris, don't see anything. So I'm thinking it looks really good. Let's continue. It's starting to really look really good. I did see a flake come through, but it's nothing too major, so I'm not too worried. But by the looks of it, I think I can almost guarantee you guys that I am going to be able to paint the car by myself without paying anybody. What I'm doing right now is evening out the paint. So in the places where I feel like there's more paint than others, I try to even out. At this point, we are safe to apply the last coat. I also want to go ahead and sand the screws and paint them as well in black, so that way it all matches. Apply any extra coats, feel free to do so. I think at this point I'm pretty much done. I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick sweep coat. Let's go ahead and let it dry, and we will be done. For now, I'm going to go ahead and uninstall the other one, compare, and see how the other one looks versus this one. I've managed to remove the other one from the left side. I'm sorry, from the passenger side. And guys, what a difference. Even the way they shine is completely different. Plastic has kind of a weird looking shine versus this one. It's almost like a matte finish, but it looks really, really good. So I'm extremely happy with the way it looks. What a difference. On a side note, I also gave the screws the treatment. I sanded them a little bit and then I just went ahead and painted them black. I want to make sure that everything matches accordingly. The car looks very nice at the end. Now that we are done painting, let's go ahead and start installing. I'm going to start by disconnecting the battery tender. This has been dried for about an hour now. While I was waiting that hour, I went ahead and painted the screws so that way I could kill some time. All right, start by doing this one. And guys, the screws are not supposed to be extremely tight, just secure enough to where they don't rattle and fall. But if you're feeling a lot of pressure, and this is because it's happened to me, if you feel like there's a lot of pressure into the screw going in, just try putting some WD-40. There's probably a bit of debris of rust, and that's causing the screw to not go in according to the threads. Alrighty, guys, I think we're done with our job. You guys let me know what you guys think. Again, guys, this is not a perfect job. Definitely looks better than what I had before. And it just goes to show that a quick little paint job and a quick little touch up on the car can make a huge difference and go a long way out. Definitely looks better. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys got a learning experience just as much as I did while painting this car. It took about an hour and a half to get the whole job done. Other than that, it was an amazing job to do, and I think it gave the car a very different look. Hopefully you guys like this video. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment down below, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.